And welcome back. I have with me Will Graham, the grandson of Billy Graham, who's in Birmingham today. And Will, welcome to the Magic City. Glad to have you here.
Well, thank you so much. I've enjoyed being here so far.
I tell you what, you're not a stranger to Alabama. You've already been here, and I understand you've had some great events, especially down at Auburn.
Yes, last spring, we had a wonderful event down there. We had 3 days down there. It ended up being my largest U.S. Crusade. I call them celebrations. It was my largest celebration I had in the U.S. And so I'm real thankful for all the people that worked so hard down in Auburn to make it happen.
It's I guess it is not by accident that you've become an evangelist like your granddaddy and your daddy. Your daddy is Franklin Graham, good friend, good man. But I have to ask you, where did the call come from? Everybody that's in the ministry has to get a call. It's just not a profession. Where did your call come from? What was it like?
Well, my call came over probably different stages in my life. And at the time, I didn't know about it, exactly what was going on. I just saw that looking back in my life, I see that taking place. When you start to evaluate your life, you start to see where God was actually moving in your life. But probably started when I was about 7 years old. My teacher in the second grade said, draw a picture of what you want to be in life. And she told that to the whole class. So everybody was drawing pictures of what they wanted to be. And most guys were drawing pictures of Joe Montana's helmet because they all want to be an NFL football quarterback. I drew a picture of an open Bible, and I drew a picture of David Clark headsets. Now, David Clark headsets, most people wouldn't know, but they're used in aviation. This is what pilots would use. They're headphones with a microphone, and they're this ugly green. But they're very unique to David Clark. And so my dad, that's what my dad was. He was a pilot. He was a preacher, and so I was wanting to be like my dad. And so even at an early age, I felt like God was calling me into ministry through some other events, going before my church, where they recognized the call in God's life in my life. And then when I was about 15 years old is when I really just said, Lord, whatever you want me to do. I did like a total surrender of my future. I've already given my life to Christ, but I said, Lord, whatever you want me to do profession-wise, you tell me what you do, and I'll do it. If you want me to preach to 50,000 people or one person, I'll do either thing. And so I look back at those those three significant times in my life where God was calling me into ministry. And 15 is when I just said, Lord, it's all yours. And so I've been trying to faithfully follow what God's called me to do all these years.
Did your famous granddaddy give you some advice when you told him of your call?
Yes, it was years later that my granddaddy gave me advice, and I'd already been a pastor for a while, and now I was coming to work for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. My grandfather said, Will, there's two things I regret in life. And he was using this as a source of encouragement to give me wisdom. He said, one is I didn't know the Bible as well enough. I want you to study God's Word each and every day. He said, I always wish I knew it as good as your grandmother, my grandmother Ruth. And he said he wished he just knew it better. The other thing was that he wished he spent more time in prayer. He said he and his ministry could accomplish so much more if they spent more time on their knees. And that says a lot for a grandson, because the only thing I saw my granddaddy doing, he did one of three things. Either one, he was reading God's Word. Second, he was praying. Or third thing he was doing was watching Larry King. And during those times, you didn't talk during any three of those things. My granddaddy and Larry King were very good friends, but he was always watching Larry King. But he said, I wish he spent more time in prayer, and then he wished he knew the God's Word even better. So I've been trying to heed those words. I'm not sure if I've done it fully, but I try to remember those things that my granddad did.